Okay, so Durin is one of the most important characters in Genshin's lore, but you might not know that because most of his story is told in limited time events. Because what do you mean the creepy red heart in Dragonspine is now a child? But don't worry, because I'm going to take those 3 event quests and 1 main quest and explain it in one convenient video. Welcome to a Genshin crash course, and this is the story of how a lonely dragon became a real boy. Durin's story begins all the way back in patch 1.2 with the Chalk Prince and Dragon event. In this event, Albedo finds a cursed sword that was created by using Durin's remains. Durin was a dragon that was created by Rhapsody and wreaked havoc in Mondstadt during the Cataclysm. According to the Breeze Amidst the Forest book, when Durin attacked, the Knights of Avonius had suffered heavy casualties, so nobody was there to defend against him. But Venti heard the cries of his people and fought Durin with the help of Dvalin. Venti led Durin to the snowy mountains, and Dvalin delivered the final blow by piercing into his neck. Durin's blood contains abyssal power and is highly corruptive. Durin's body remained in Wormrest Valley. The sword that Albedo found is powered by Durin's corruption and can corrupt the wielder. The traveler is able to resist abyssal power, so Albedo gives the sword to the traveler to help with an experiment. As the traveler uses the blade becomes purified. Albedo gives the traveler the Festering Desire sword as a memento. We can learn more about Durin with this sword and the Dragonspine spear. Durin had actually come to Mondstadt to befriend the people and even wanted to play with Dvalin, but his corrupted blood had actually caused him to unknowingly attack them instead. It wasn't until he had been taken down by Venti and Dvalin that he actually woke up. The saddest part is, Durin felt no ill will towards Dvalin. Farewell, O lovely bard, and farewell, O lovely dragon. Would that we had met in a different time and place, to meet, to sing, and dance together. This brings us to our next quest. The Shadows Amidst Snowstorms event is not about Durin, but it is important for setting up future quests. This event introduces us to Albedo number 2, or as the community calls him, Susbedo. Albedo was not the first homunculus that Rhapsody had created. Susbedo was actually a prototype, but he was considered a failure and was swallowed by Durin. After Durin died in Wormrest Valley, Susbedo had escaped and lived in Dragonspine. He saw how Albedo was able to live freely as a human and grew envious. That envy grew into hatred until Susbedo started to form a plan to replace Albedo. This is where things get a little silly. Susbedo had used Durin's blood to mutate a whopper flower. Now, a regular whopper flower can imitate plants, so a mutated one is able to imitate people. The whopper flower infiltrates the traveler's team, but the traveler figures out that it's an imposter because it doesn't have the alchemy mark on its neck. What's interesting is that Albedo has that mark on his neck to show that he is imperfect and a genuine human. Albedo figures out that Susbedo is behind everything and goes to confront him off screen. At this point of the story, it's kind of unclear what happened between the two, and it's a little ambiguous as to what happened with Susbedo. Just a reminder that this event was released on November 25th, 2021, and we didn't get an answer for 4 years. They really took their time, but we did at least get an answer. The next time that Durin will show up is in patch 4.8 for the summer event, Summertide Scales and Tales. In this event, the traveler and Paimon get sent a magic storybook and get transported into the world of Similanka. Nilou, Navia, and Kirara are also teleported here. According to Navia, who's the queen of this world, as she should be, there's a dragon that's been taking the stars out of the sky. After a little bit of questing, we learn that the dragon has been destroying the world and even spat out a strange fog that's surrounding an island. The traveler and friends take a toy train to the edge of the world to fight the dragon. The train actually derails and everybody falls, but Hat Guy is there to save us. The dragon's fog has a hallucinatory effect, and when we fight the dragon, we can see his full backstory. Anders' daughter had felt sorry for Durin. She believed that in another life he could have had a happier end. So with Barbaloth and Alice's help, she created Durin in the Similanka. This Durin experienced the same thing as his real life counterpart. He tried to be friends with everybody, but unknowingly caused harm and isolated himself at the edge of Similanka. Eventually, Anders' daughter would pass.
It's okay. It's okay. Once I'm gone, I will become a star in Similanka and watch over you from above. If you ever feel lonely, just look up towards the sky.
This is why the dragon tried to steal the stars so he could look at them and think of his mother. The Wanderer sees all this and resonates with Durin, and by saying his name, he's able to calm him down. Durin wants to live with the people, but his current form causes way too much harm. But Nilou comes up with a solution. Everybody gives Durin a blessing and he turns into a marketable plushie, so he can't hurt anybody. At this point, there are two Durins, the original one in Dragonspine and Mini Durin. Near the end of the quest, Scaramouche reveals to Albedo that Dragonspine Durin is prophesied to come back to life. According to Albedo, Durin's core is slowly being revitalized, and Durin will eventually come back. This prophecy gets realized in patch 5.6. If you made it this far, thank you for watching and subscribe. This brings us to our final quest in the Durin saga, Paralogism. In this quest, Albedo is on trial for murder and using alchemy to hide multiple bodies. But here's what's actually happening. Remember how Albedo confronted Suspedo off-screen? Well, he buried Suspedo in Dragonspine, but some monsters under Durin's influence took the body and placed it near Durin's core. Durin absorbed Suspedo's intelligence and gave all the monsters under his influence the power to shapeshift. It also inherited Suspedo's hatred of Albedo and is trying to destroy him. These monsters have been replacing members of the Knights of Favonius, including the Prosecutor. After the Prosecutor got exposed, it launched a full-scale attack on Mondstadt. However, the Knights of Favonius were ready for this. They knew that Durin's core was getting restless and was going to attack. The entire trial was fake, and it was a way to find out which knights were replaced. Every single playable character that is in Mondstadt helps defend the city, and it's awesome. Albedo then calls for a tripartite conference, which is a meeting of the Hexencircle, the Animal Archon, and the joint forces of the Knights and the Church of Favonius. It's something that Varka created and only happens in a state of emergency. This is when Venti calls Alice because Albedo needs help creating a miracle. Albedo is planning on turning Mini Durin into a human. Mini Durin's goodness can counteract Dragonspine Durin's evil side, so Albedo plans on fusing the two together. This is a feat that even rivals Rheindaughtr. By the way, if you're wondering why Durin is here and not with Scaramouche, Scaramouche understood that Durin needed to fulfill this duty and let him go. He needs flesh from the Bacchanala, which is an immortal monster from the Mare Javari, and an embryo, which is the raw material that Rheindaughtr used to make monsters in the past. To get these materials, he needs to pass a trial. After completing this trial, he needs one more ingredient. He goes to Durin's core and drains the remaining life force inside. Dragonspine Durin is finally laid to rest. During the Wind Bloom Festival, Albedo performs his miracle and Durin is finally given a human body. Now in the present, Durin is in Notcry along with Albedo, Alice, and his bestie. It's not clear why they're all here, but I just know it's gonna be hype as hell. Durin has one of the coolest storylines in Genshin, and I can't wait to see more of it. Leave a comment how you feel about Notcry, and I'll see you guys next time. It might be a week, it might even be a year.